Hi everybody, Jackie Grant here. So today's video is all about how much is it costing you personally if you're the employee or you the employer when there is stress and burnout in the workplace. This is something that the statistics have shown that it is really high at the moment with burnout and stress, especially in the sectors of health, disability, aged care, and there's also been a lot of people struggling just with general living, so even getting a job can be challenging, and that adds stress, and then that costs money because stress impacts our health, so it ripples out. So stress and burnout are something that impact every aspect of business in Australia, and also balloons out the cost of health services as well. So not only the health services struggling and their staff are getting burnt out, but then there's the financial impact and the roll on, and so it goes on. So today let's get into breaking that down a little bit more about primarily how it's going to impact both employees and employers, because at the end of the day, it comes down to people are not feeling like they have a quality of life. So it's a bit of a heavy video. I'll try and keep it fun, but it's something that I really want to bring in, that there is solutions to this. We'll just get straight into it. Okay, so let's start with the actual data, the figures. So according to the Australian Government Production Commission, mental health costs between $12.2 and $22.5 billion a year. That is what that means, is that amount of money it's costing businesses, it's costing the healthcare industry as well, but primarily it's costing businesses. So when someone is stressed and then they take sick leave, then the company or the business has to actually pay that person sick leave if they have it. They then have to pay another person to do that job where possible. They might, share the workload, but sometimes if the person's going to be off for a while, they have to look about, do we replace the person? Do we add in more staff? And then that impacts the workplace environment. It also can change the energy of the quality of work. So productivity can go down, which then contributes to the ongoing cost. So this is a lot of money. Now, Forbes Australia have said that stress in the workplace and burnout actually cost about $14.81 billion annually. I haven't got the full breakdown of that, but that is something that you can always go to the Bureau of Statistics and things like that. So basically what we're saying in a nutshell, sick leave due to stress and burnout will cost the business on many different levels, and then it ripples out into the health sector that are providing the service. So there's more counselling required, there's more support for the person to get back on track. Then that person that's going through that stress and burnout is then worried about making ends meet, especially in when the cost of living is really high, then worried about losing their home, like it then impacts their relationship because financially everything's stressed, and it just rolls on. It's just a really big ripple. So this is a big problem, and it is a problem that I'm going to say it impacts all businesses. It doesn't matter what your business is. People get stressed and people get burnt out. So I ask you, if you run a business, how much sick leave are your staff taking? And generally, even though you can't ask them a lot of questions about their personal health, like that's just check Fair Work legislation on that one. But what is going on for your staff, and what is going on in your workplace environment? And are you meeting your work health and safety obligations by having a wellbeing plan in place and implemented, actually actioned? Do you have that? Like, what is going on in your workplace, and what is it actually costing you? As part of the 12.2 million, that's that lower end of that cost, what mental health is costing the Australian economy, how much is your business impacted by that? Like, how much is your business contributing to that cost? Good questions and something to think about. So let's dive into it a little bit more. So one of the biggest things around business success is that bottom line profit, right? Let's be honest, let's call a spade a spade. Businesses, people go into business to make money. Now, often they go into business for a variety of reasons. They might step into business because, oh, I love gardening. I'm just gonna keep doing gardening, and their business might have happened by accident because they did their neighbour's garden and then they talked about it, and then more people came, and then suddenly they've got to go, oh, how much do I charge for my service, and then suddenly they've got to sit down and go, how much is this costing me? And suddenly they've got a business. It went from a hobby or helping someone out to now it's a full-on business. And it could be at that point that you the person that started this amazing business for the pure joy of doing more of what you do and helping other people, that now you're employing staff. But one of the things that I want you to take into account is you are actually now running a business. Super excited for you. It's amazing, especially, when it's something that you love. But there's all these requirements, and I'm talking broad business. And for those of you in the disability sector, yes, this is you. And for those of you that are sole traders in the disability sector, yes, you fall into this category as well, just as the gardener that started helping people out, and then before he knew it, more people wanted his services. So when you set up a business, there's all these legislations and requirements, and some industries have more than others, so get to know your industry. But one of them is work health and safety. That's everybody. Everybody's got to meet work health and safety, especially when you employ staff. But even as an independent, as a sole trader, you do have the obligations to provide a safe work environment for yourself and the people that are receiving your service. So if you are selling books, okay, and you're selling ebooks, okay, less risk, right? But part of work health and safety is wellbeing plan. Now, this is for you too, the sole trader. So I don't want to think about it just as a company that employs people. I want you to think about it as you, the employer and the employee type of situation, because you got to take care of you, right? If you don't take care of you, what happens in work? What happens to the income? So one of the things that I want you to focus on and think about right here, right now, is what would a wellbeing plan look like for me and my business, sole trader or company? You might have 2 employees and think it doesn't really, it's fine. But a bit like the sole traders, I don't need a wellbeing plan. I know to take care of me. Do you? Are you? Because often when it's just you, there's no one checking in. Did you take a break? Did you take a day off? Did you turn your phone off? All these little things are really important, and it's really important to think about it from that work-life balance as well. So let's get into a little bit about the early signs and symptoms of what stress can look like. So let's talk about stress in the workplace, but also stress ripples out into every aspect of our life. So stress can show up, especially in the workplace, as poor productivity, person being late for work, person calling in sick. These obviously you need to be very careful with this when discussing it with the person, but you can just notice that they may be not as happy as what there is, and there are ways of checking in on your staff without breaching the person's rights and work health and fair work rights and legislation. You might find that the person is got more concerns, or they're more talkative to people, and they're less talkative. There's just change in the person. If you are that person that is going to work and you set the alarm and you want to hit that snooze button all the time and you just don't want to go, it's a really good time to stop and reflect. So if you're the employer, you've got to look at the big picture of the person, be very mindful of their rights and privacy, but also you are running a business, and your business productivity impacts your profit margin, but also your ability to pay your staff. So if the quality of the service is dropping, then you may lose clients, you may lose revenue, which then reduces your ability to keep the current staff on, which then means maybe you have to let people go, and nobody really wants to do that. So there's ways and means of addressing this with people. But stress can be in the person's personal life and they're bringing it into the workplace and they actually think it's the workplace when really it's actually in their personal life, and vice versa. So they do connect quite closely, but it's really important to find out the origin of the stressor. A little bit of stress is okay. A little bit of stress can be, for some people, a motivator or a dopamine release, especially if the person is neurodivergent. It's like, yeah, have you done that article? No, it's due tomorrow. I know. And they work better under that pressure and stress, and they've got it. But it's when they don't have it. So it's when there's a change in that person's behavior, how often they're coming into work, what do they like in the workplace? When you work that out, are they more emotional? Are they more detached? Like, what has changed? Identifying how stress shows up in the workplace, and we've created a couple of checklists. So there's a self-assessment checklist, and we've also created one for managers, more targeted at like their level of work. And identifying how stress shows up for people, remember it's going to be broad, but it's all about what the individual needs and what supports they need to keep going and do their job the best that they possibly can. And this is important to understand what is different in your workplace and what actions you can take. So once you understand how the stress is showing up in your workplace, then you've got the opportunity to then make change as required. At the end of the day, a business is running, and a business needs the income and the revenue to be able to pay the staff and meet their financial obligations. They're a business. Even if you are a sole trader, you've got those obligations. So if the staff or yourself are not well, you're stressed, you're anxious, you're worried, mistakes can be made, and it's okay. We all make mistakes, but it's how those mistakes impact the business, impact the reputation of the business, impact every part of staff, people, business, and clients. So whilst mistakes do happen, it's really about identifying how can we provide a positive culture in our workplace, and what is going on with regards to stress, and how can we minimize that in our workplace. And these are things that are really important to think about as the business owner. So we've talked about identifying stress and how it might show up for your staff, which is different for everybody. But what I'd love to now tap into is that wellbeing plan. Now we can come and help you work on your wellbeing plan and how it can be implemented and tailored specifically to your business. We've worked with businesses in America, in Canada, and Australia on this, and every single one of them, even though most of them have been in health, disability, had a couple of lawyers, even though mostly the same, every business is unique and different, and that's what I love about it. I love to get in and get to know that business and their team and what makes them who they are and how they got to where they are. So the wellbeing plan is designed to bring a positive, nurturing, welcoming, inclusive environment to the workplace. And that can look, as I said, look different. So it comes down to communication styles. It comes down to the culture of the business and the culture of the people in the business, because every business has different ways that they communicate. Every culture has different ways. So really quick example is that some cultures are very just do this, it's very assertive, and other cultures are like, oh, so I just want to talk to you, and they sort of soften it a little bit. Now, if you're used to the softened approach of what sometimes is called a compliment sandwich, because you have a compliment on either side of the problem, but you then have a manager or people that you're working with that turn around and go, just do this, right? That there's no please, there's no thank you. That can actually feel like a disrespectful thing. It's actually not necessarily the case. So this is why understanding the communication of all of your staff and your team go to and directly contribute to the work satisfaction and the stress level in the workplace. Because if someone is constantly told, just do this, what? You didn't even say please, you didn't say thank you, you didn't say hi, how are you? You didn't do any of that. Now, I acknowledge I actually sometimes do that, and I'm a very caring person. So my autism and ADHD will lead to me to be going, hey, can you just do this, please? Oh, sorry, hi, how are you? Forgot that bit. So just common things that are not always, it's in some cultures, they don't feel the need for that small talk, so to speak. Or some people have autism traits or have ADHD traits, and they literally have not even thought about going, hi, Mary, how are you? Really quick thing, do you mind just doing this for me? And I actually need it like later today. Do you mind? Great, thank you so much. Mary knows she hasn't got a choice. It really wasn't a question of, yes, I do mind. It was more about social niceties, whereas other bosses go, I need this by 5 p.m. Thanks, have it on my desk. So what sort of workplace culture? And often if people are being spoken to, like, I need this by 5 p.m., they can sometimes feel unappreciated. And then they go home and they go, I'm not appreciated at work. And so it rolls on and on and on and on. So one of the things that I want you to think about is that workplace connection and culture is that what is going on in your workplace. And how is communication, and the wellbeing program and plan and implementation of that can take all of this into account. So we work with you on your unique business. But you've got to understand that this will cost a little bit of money, and you might be going, oh, we're spending a fortune now on our business, and we've got staff on sick leave, and then the cost of living, and then we've lost a few clients because of A, B, C, and D. The last thing we want to do is spend money on team building and, workplace health and safety in the sense of the wellbeing plan. I don't want to spend money on bringing someone in to talk about health and wellness in the workplace. It's going to cost us a fortune. Or team building. No, we're just going to keep going because we've got to soldier on and we've got to bring the money in because we are owed money or whatever is going on. It can cost you in the long run. Remember at the start of the video, I said that mental health costs between $12.2 and $22.5 billion a year. That's what it costs the Australian economy a year, because people are off on sick leave, there's work cover claims in that, like there's so many different things. So what if most of that could be avoided in your workplace? And that starts with awareness, which we talked about. Okay, so we're going to just bring this back in a little bit just to recap, because I could probably talk to this topic all day and none of you have all day to sit here and listen to me. So stress and burnout cost the Australian economy billions of dollars every year, and it is something that can be reduced with some strategic planning and investment by the businesses, including sole traders. I'm very big on that one. So businesses investing in somebody like myself coming in to talk about health and well-being and how staff can take care of themselves. We even have a short downloadable course, mostly designed at the health, aged care and disability sector, but look, a lot of people could do it. We talk about florists in it and stuff like that. But the importance of managing stress in your workplace, in your life. When you can learn to know your signs and symptoms of stress, or your staff's signs and symptoms of stress, and actually capture it early and start to create positive changes, such as in services on health and health and well-being, in services on things like neurodiversity, because that's a very big area where a lot of miscommunication and issues arise in the workplace. So we can come in and talk to that as well, and we meet you where you're at. So what are your problems? We work with you. We don't just come in and tell you what to do. We actually work with you. So we have those services available to help bring your business into a place where people feel included, welcomed, appreciated, without you needing to go over the top. And when you do that, productivity increases. Pride in work increases. People enjoy coming to work. So then people talk about the business in a positive way. When they talk about the business in a positive way, more people go, oh, great. Oh, I want to know more. They're interested. Positivity can be infectious. It can be a great tool. Although a lot of people tend to go to drama first. They go, oh, they're too positive. No, positivity is really good. So when 90% of the time, if not more, the staff are happy to come to work and they do great work, then you're less likely to have to spend money on excess sick leave, the recruitment phase, poor productivity because they're stressed, so their work quality suffered, dealing with complaints, like all of those things that take time, money, and energy, right? So that you've got resources having to be tied up to fix that problem, where maybe a really great solid wellbeing plan that has flexibility, that's implemented, that's adaptable, staff and services, team building, bringing the team together, continuity, support. When you have that in your workplace, you are more likely to have a business that soars, and you're investing in your people, which is investing in your business, and then they're like a walking advertisement. I love my job. We got to do this. It's about building a culture in your workplace that is positive and empowering. And then there's less. I'm not going to say there's none, because there's always going to be a stressor. But how that stress is handled and how the people feel supported. Having things like access to EPC, so counselling services. Some businesses incorporate coaching services. For a couple of businesses, they paid me to do coaching with their staff. And they saw a massive turnaround with their staff after a couple of coaching sessions. And to be honest, some of those coaching sessions were more about their personal life or their reactivity rather than the actual job itself. Coaching is an amazing tool. So incorporating the wellbeing plan, understanding what stress looks like for people, understanding what stress looks like for you, and then being aware that burnout is such a big thing, and it takes people so much longer to come back from burnout, to recover from burnout, and then the ripple effects to every other aspect of their life can be minimized by creating a really positive workplace culture. And we at Break Free Consultancy can help you do that. So reach out to us. Our website is breakfreeconsultancy.com. You can book a call with us. You can call our 1300 number. You can email us info@breakfreeconsultancy.com and ask a question. And we do these presentations in person or via video, depending on where you are and what's beneficial for your business. So stress in the workplace can be minimized with a really great wellbeing plan and the right supports connected to your business at the right time. So let's talk and take care of your staff. And if you're an employee, take care of you, speak up if there's a problem. And then you might like to also check out our self-paced learning course on managing stress in the workplace.